Hello, hello. Welcome to The Play That Changed My Life. I'm Patrick White. This is brought to you by Harbinger Theater and Open Stage Media. We have here today guest Jarel Davidow with Lake George Dinner Theater and Hannah DeStefano, who is currently appearing in Peter the Starcatcher at Schenectady Light Opera Company. Hello, Hannah.
Hi.
Yeah, great. So we're getting into spring. Can we say that? Can we?
We could say it. It might not be true, but we can say it.
Well, it seems like the frozen days have broken. A bit of a thaw. It's getting towards 40s here in upstate New York.
A little cold today. Cold and windy today, and it snowed last night.
Yeah, there was some flurries.
Yeah.
Don't put away your snow shovel.
Right.
But
spring is imminent.
Yeah, we have summer represented. Yeah. And we have a little bit getting in one of the last winter shows at SLOC.
Yeah.
Get down to it. So I wanted to bring up something. We had mentioned it just before the broadcast, and it's some sticky area, our administration and the arts. There was some news this week, always, that the National Endowment of the Arts is no longer sponsoring grants that you cannot support diversity, equality, or inclusion within your organization where the grants are going. Do you have grant money?
Not
like
federal
George?
grant money, so that doesn't affect us. We've only been a not-for-profit since 2016, so we're quite young in the not-for-profit world. We were a for-profit theater for years before that, so we just, it's recent for us. So we're still exploring how grants work and stuff like that.
Yep.
But we've never taken federal grants anyway. So,
But Michael Kennedy of Creative Action Unlimited posted that if your state grant, that it's possible that state money was affected by this change in procedure.
we'll just have to see.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's one day at a time right now, right?
Right. And there is talk about, whether you support the Kennedy Center at this point. It's like, there are, as you said, people who are working there.
Yeah.
Sheer Madness is still running there. There are many productions. There's a huge production of Legally Blonde that's going to go up in a couple of months. Do you attend Kennedy Center at this point? Do you have any feelings about that?
I mean, everybody has feelings about it, but it's it's wanting to support the arts versus not wanting to support these constricting policies.
Right.
I don't know. It's very tough. How do you feel about it?
Oh, I go back and forth because in one vein I'm thinking, well, all these people, all these artists, his views might not represent them, or like the way he views theater or the arts world might not be the way that they view it. So then you want to go and support them so that they can keep their jobs, they can keep like proliferating the arts. But then at the same time, it's like overarchingly at an institutional level, he's going to be making decisions for that institution, and then what kind of programming is he going to use that money to put on stage in the future, or what is he going to use that money to take away? So I go back and forth with what I should do or what I would do.
I feel the same way. What do you think?
Yeah, there's plenty of art out there. I don't see the need to, you have choices, and I can't get behind supporting that organization right now and what he's done to it. I don't think it is the organization, and I feel, I feel bad that, that there are people who are affected by that. But, if you look across about what Musk has done, there are people affected, so, and there was, an article in the New York Times Magazine by Mark Harris about political theater. Why does everything feel political nowadays. Every play that comes out feel political. I've always felt that. I think, that the second that you walk out of your house, we felt it during COVID, like where you shop or whether you mask or, how you interact, that if politics is the system in which we live together, theater is all about living together. How do you participate as a society? How do you work together? How do you live together?
Yeah.
And whether you address it or not, it might just be a comedy, but you're all in the same room.
Yes.
You're all laughing together. You're all
It's a communal experience. Absolutely. Yeah.
You've chosen, to be a member of this group.
I also think art is literally based on what are people experiencing at the time, and everything might be political because we're all going through a lot more. And I also think that we're open to talking about issues that we weren't always open to talking about in the past. So if everything seems political, it's because we're speaking up more about things that we weren't speaking up about before.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you can find the silver lining
Yeah.
in this hellscape.
Gotta find it somewhere.
That's
a good way.
Yeah, keep pushing forward. That's excellent. Are you both transplants to the area? Are you from here, Hannah?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, because you recently made a big splash, and I'm like, where is this girl from? Young woman from. And Jarel, you came up and acted, right?
Yes.
At Lake George Dinner Theater.
Yeah, I'm a downstater. I was born in Brooklyn. I grew up in Westchester County, and I lived in, all over the city for years. I went to grad school down there at the Actor Studio program. And so I was just an actor for hire. I did a lot of regional theater, and my first show, I auditioned for Lake George Dinner Theater and got hired in 2012.
Your first?
That was my first show up here.
Oh, okay.
My first show at the Dinner Theater.
Yeah.
And that's what brought me up here. And then I did a show the year after and then started directing for them and then eventually took over as artistic director in 2018. So, yeah. So I'm a transplant.
If you have plans for world domination.
That's right.
I snuck in.
Yeah. One theater at a time.
Excellent. Well, we're happy to have you. I just want to say that from the formation of Capital Region Festival of Theater, you were at the first meeting, and you've been very supportive, and I really appreciate it.
I mean, I'm so looking forward to this first year. I hope we can make this panel happen or roundtable or whatever it's going to. It's tough for us to participate because it goes up a week before we start rehearsals for our first show.
Oh no, it's happening.
Yeah. No, I mean, like our round. Yeah, for sure. All right. Yeah, well.
No, Jarel is going to be at the June 15th day at U Albany. Participating in an artistic directors panel. Which so far, and the names may change, but Stephen Patterson from Bridge Street and Jean-Remy Monet from Black Theater Troupe of Upstate New York, and Carol Max of Curtain Call Theater is
fantastic.
what we have on the dais right now. But thank you. I appreciate the support and the encouragement, and it's great having. I one of the joys of creating this is all the people coming together and saying yes, we value our community. And
it was amazing. I got to say, that first meeting really blew me away. I mean, just the amount of people that were there and the diversity of people that were there from all different theater companies was just so inspiring. It was great. And then we had that last meeting. What was that? A few weeks ago at
U Albany.
At U Albany, right? And that was even more people were there. So it's really coming together, and it's very exciting.
And we got a very large gift out of that meeting.
Oh, good.
Yeah, someone we had no idea who it was, how he found us, but he watched and he saw the passion, and he donated $10,000 to us.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So very exciting. Hannah, And you are from?
I'm a Central New York native, so I'm from the Utica area, so only like an hour and 20 minutes from here.
Yep.
I mean, I was born and raised there, and then when I was 17, I had like a friend of a friend of a friend who was like helping out with their house out here while they were away. And they're like, I know about this great summer program that you should do. And so I started doing the summer program at the Collaborative School of the Arts because the friend of a friend of a friend had a place that me and my other friend could stay for free. So that's kind of how I got introduced to the area. I was just up here for the summers as a teen.
Whose School of Arts?
Collaborative School of the Arts here at Proctor's.
Oh, collaborative.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I started doing the summer program here. I did it from 2017 to 2019. And like, I was just infatuated with the area. I will say, I don't really hear a lot of like my close personal friends here be like, oh my God, I just love Schenectady all the time. But like, for me, coming from Central New York and Utica, where there's like 3 theaters maybe, other than like school theater, I was like a kid in a candy store coming out here because there's so much to do. And it was like bigger budget, higher quality, more people, more like different programming, things to do. So I was like totally infatuated with Schenectady and the whole area. And then obviously I went to college at home in the area that I lived. And then I worked a little bit out there, and then I saw a position open up at Proctor's. So I applied because I just wanted to be out here so bad because there's just so much going on all the time.
Awesome. And you went to school where?
I went to school at Utica University. I don't know if I can remember.
No, that's fine. And did I see, am I making this up? You have a best friend, is Caitlin Effner?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I know Caitlin,
Yes.
of course. Yeah, we were counselors at the Not So Common Kids Camp. Yeah. That's great. And
Yeah.
I imagine working at Collaborative Camp, you're meeting, kids from all over the capital region.
Yeah.
And there's this Utica
Yeah. I came from nowhere.
refugee.
Arts refugee
Yeah,
for sure.
sort of like Jarel working his way into our system.
Yeah. Well, it was so interesting because before I moved out here, I had all these best friends. I mean, me and Caitlin Effner became best friends in 2017, the first year we did the camp where we did Pippin, which is another reason why it's so special to me as a show. Plug. But so it was funny because all these years I'm hearing about these people, I'm hearing names, I'm hearing places, I'm hearing things that are going on, and I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm logging in my head just because I'm listening to my friend, and then I come out here and I'm like, oh my God, you're the one that I heard about all these years ago, or this is the place that I heard about all the time, because Caitlin, I mean, she did a lot of shows at Schenectady Light Opera Company growing up too, so she would always tell me about it. I was like, oh my God, I want to do one there so bad. So it was really full circle.
Yeah. That's awesome. Did she work at the old Slock? Yeah, she must have.
I think she could have. She's been doing it since she was young.
That's only been up for like 10 years now, the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw her, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. I have to touch base with her because,
Yeah. She's awesome.
Excellent. So, Jarel, what are you working on? We talked about Lake George Dinner Theater announced their season. That's very exciting.
Yeah. Thrilled that we finally were able to announce it. So, our first show, which will open July 11th and run through August 30th, is a musical called Guys on Ice.
Oh.
It's about ice fishermen in Wisconsin. Super funny show, very sweet. I think ATF did it like 20 years ago. ATF was instrumental in sort of moving that show along, but it's done a lot in the Midwest and it hasn't been done in this area since ATF did it. So I'm really happy to bring it back. Yeah.
Was there a production at, well, I don't know if you would know all the productions, but Purple Rose Theater, Jeff Daniels
Yeah, the
Theater?
Jeff Daniels Theater? I don't know. It might have been.
I think I saw it. I think that's why it rang a bell.
Oh, that could be.
And now you say it's been around that long. Yeah, I think I saw pictures of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure those guys wrote it in 96 or 97.
Yeah, and it's a musical.
It's a musical. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So,
what's the cast size?
three men.
3 men.
Yep. But then our second show is called Incident at Our Lady of Perpetual Help, which is a family comedy, takes place in 1973, and that's 4 women and 1 man. So we got a nice breakdown.
Balance.
We got a nice balance. We got a nice balance going.
Good. Yeah, I counted them out. We have roles at Harbinger for 17 women and 10 men.
Okay.
And I was like, that's good.
That's good.
That's good. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Try to keep it even.
Yeah. Well, or favor.
Yeah.
Excellent. And when you're choosing a season, you've got a musical, and you got 6 weeks, right? 6-7 week
Of
run?
performance, you mean?
Yeah.
We do. It's a seven. The first one's a 7-week run, and the second show is about a 4-week run.
So it's got to have, staying power, right?
Yeah, for sure. So last year we did I Love You, You're Perfect Now Change, and it was the first musical the Dinner Theater did in 34 years, I believe.
Successful, I guess.
Very successful. Yeah, no, it was huge. It was a great show. I was super proud of it. It outsold Sheer Madness, which is traditionally our number one seller. But it outsold that by a little bit. So we decided, let's go back to this well again and let's try another musical. And I had a ball directing it, and I'm looking forward to doing this one. So we'll see how it goes.
Now, musicals are slightly more expensive, right?
As I found out,
much more expensive.
Much more expensive.
Yeah. You had live musicians.
We had a live piano player, John Benware, who's a wonderful, and he'll be back again this year as our musical director and accompanist for the season.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. But worthwhile. I
mean, there's nothing like a musical. Audiences love musicals, and especially if you can make them laugh with it. And you know, we're an entertainment house. We don't do, we always do comedies. We always do light entertainment shows,
right.
Because it's dinner theater, and I don't want people to have to choke down their chicken with Ibsen. So
yeah. Well, there are issues that have come up, and
sure.
I remember, what was it, Lunch with Mrs. Baskin?
Yeah.
It was there were economic issues.
Absolutely.
And,
yeah. I mean, any good play has good social issues weaved through. Yeah.
Reality.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and Guys on Ice is really, we've dubbed this season our season of friends and family, because the Guys on Ice is all about friendship. It's all about it's really two guys that are lifelong friends, and the third guy, the character's name's Ernie the Moocher. And he comes in, he's always trying to get a free beer from those guys. But the show is about friendship, really. And the second show is about family, because it's about the O'Shea family in 1973. And the crux of the play is a big sister tells the little sister about the birds and the bees, and the parish priest overhears the conversation, and it erupts into this little town scandal, and the family has to sort of save their family name, and it's a really funny show.
Excellent. Yeah, I saw it was recently done over in West Springfield.
Yeah, Majestic Theater
Majestic,
did it recently.
Which is doing Sheer Madness.
They just did it last year, and they're bringing it back. Yeah, they took half our cast to do the show.
They're copying you.
Yeah, well, somebody's got to be the vanguard.
No, that's excellent.
Yeah, it's great.
Hannah, you're working on Peter and the Starcatcher. Yes?
Yes, I am. We've been working on it since the first week of January, and we're about to open next Friday on March 14th, so I'm really excited.
Yeah, excellent. And you're going into Tech Weekend?
Yes, we are. We have double tech on Sunday, and then we have 2 dress rehearsals on Monday and Tuesday. We'll be dark Wednesday, preview Thursday, then we'll open on the Friday. So
congratulations.
Big week. Yeah.
Thank
you.
Very exciting.
How long a run do y'all do?
We do 2 weekends.
Nice.
So we'll do 7 shows.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. It's been an awesome time. I've just really loved it. This process, I feel like every show I do it's for everyone, it's really different, but based on the people that you have, the team that you have, and all my Slock shows, even though they're all at the same location, have been drastically different from one to the next. But
sure.
This one, I suppose it's probably due in large part to the nature of the show as well. It's just fun. We've just had so much fun the whole time.
It's such a fun show.
Yeah.
Peter, it's such a fun show.
It is silly. And it's so inventive and coming up with things. There's a whole book about how to create certain things in the show, but really you're free. And you were teasing a bit with the mermaids. I'm like, I've done the show, but you can do whatever you want. So obviously there is something surprising that you have up your sleeve.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that it's that surprising. It's more so just like some visual gags that I find particularly hilarious for myself. So I don't want to say them in advance.
No,
but
you have something up your sleeve.
Yeah. Great to surprise an audience.
Yeah.
It's the most fun ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I saw it on Broadway, and it seemed to be set in a theater, and I was like, well, how much fun is that? Because theaters can do anything anyway, but and you have like pallets, and I was like, set it in a garage or, somewhere where, you come up with items and turn them into things. And so that's.
I would just say, like, too, our team, like Molly Waters, who's our director, is just super inventive. Like, she's just the most joyous person, like one of the most joyous people I've ever met. And she's creative and imaginative, and she's just like so childlike in spirit that, I mean, I couldn't have imagined anyone better to be at the helm of it, because, I mean, she has us start every day, every rehearsal, we play a children's game or like a theater game just to like get the spirit going. Yeah. And the things that she's created with it has just been like amazing to me.
Yeah, Molly worked on Into the Breaches with Harbinger, and she did the fight choreography for the squirrels. And to have that kind of spirit of play with a fight choreographer. Okay, great. Now, why don't you give him the elbow to the nose? And she's great. Love Molly, who's going to be playing Mrs. Lovett in Sweeney Todd up at Fort Salem with her fiance James Alexander, who's a big Slock star. He's doing the music direction of Peter.
Yes, he is. And one thing that I think is so fun too with James, I mean, James is also like a huge sea shanty nerd. Like this, he loves like all that type of stuff. So he comes in the first day and he's like, all right, guys, well, we're going to be doing a 20-minute pre-show, and it's going to be all sea shanties. So be prepared to learn and play, and we're going to try them all out. So we're adding that in, which is fun.
And that's with the cast.
Yes. And we were just really figuring it out the other day, too. I'm not going to say the lineup. There are some favorites and then probably some ones that not everybody has heard of before. But he came out and we just did like some loose blocking with it. But really, it was like, we're going to set up the ship and we're going to do boat stuff and we're going to swashbuckle and, all that sort of thing.
Well, I'm in. Chris and I saw Swept Away, and we were swept away. So we're all in.
Yeah.
We'll get the sea shanty. We'll arrive early.
Yeah. You definitely should, because there'll be a lot going on. And there's some like interaction parts that'll go on too. And it's not, he didn't pick all funny ones either. It's not just all like yo-ho. There's like some like classic ones too that are like more grounded or emotional. So I don't know, just a great time all around.
We were talking about the equality in the casting. Peter, as it was done on Broadway, had Celia Keenan Bolger, and then the rest of the cast was men. That's not the case at Slock. How many women are in the cast?
Oh gosh, I'd have to let me think on the top of my head.
Okay, this is a test.
Paige,
Jarel, we can...
talk amongst yourself.
We'll let Hannah figure that out.
Off the top of my head, I'll say 4 or 5.
Okay.
We have...
You split the cast up.
Yeah. We have like... I mean, anyone can play it. We did it so anyone is playing any part. The only one that Molly really kept true to it was Molly, because she wanted to emphasize the struggle of like how she goes through her journey is like growing up as a young woman at that time, and like the feminist aspect of that too.
Yeah. It's a central character.
Yeah. But everything else was like really open to anyone. At callbacks, it was the most fun I have ever had watching other people in a callback, because it really, anyone at any time it was Russian roulette to who was going to get pulled up to do what.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's excellent. Who else is in your cast? David Quinones and Joseph Plock.
Yes.
And
we have Ren DeCoco, Paige Keneally, Livia Walker, Ari Polburn, Kason Muldery. Gosh, I'm going to end up forgetting one person or two, and it's going to be bad. But they've all just been so excellent. And I will say, I have to give a special shout out to David. This is David's star turn. Like, I've been talking about it to everybody. I'm like, honestly, if you don't want to see the show for anything else, you need to come for David, because I mean, there's not one rehearsal he hasn't made at least one person break. He's just like hilarious, like so effortless and funny. So.
And he
Definitely.
played Ted in the Albany Civic Theater
Yeah.
production. Do you know David Quinones?
Just by name.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever met him.
Yeah, he's extraordinary. And he does marketing. He does photography for Curtain Call, and he comes up with these posters, which frequently look like movie posters.
Yeah.
And he's done a bunch for Harbinger, but he's come up with some for Peter. The one that I saw yesterday looks like Empire Strikes Back. it was his head like looming over all these, little vignette pieces underneath them. But there's also one that mimics Hamilton and Wicked.
Yes.
That's a good one
Oh,
too.
that's great.
think we
Yeah,
have-
you got to check out these
Yeah.
posters.
We have like 3 more of them coming out, I want to say. So they're all spoofs.
You have
so
a lot
they're
up your
great.
sleeve, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
He is very, very talented. So that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. In picking your season, I know at Harbinger we got want to do Capital Region premieres, so we're picking stuff that's very recent, and frequently we get rejected for the rights because they want to give professional theaters the opportunity. They make more money on it, and,
Right.
So. Do you have one? Was there any show that you wanted to do this summer and just it's not right this summer?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, we're sort of planning. We're trying to plan a few years out ahead of time, which we hadn't done for a while. And in picking shows for the dinner theater, I mean, you've been there. The dinner theater is such a unique animal, right? It takes we do our shows in the Holiday Inn in Lake George. We take over their conference room and convert it into a theater.
Make magic.
Exactly. It's a really, I mean, my first time working there as an actor, I've never worked in any place quite like it before. And then taking over as a director, I've never directed in any place quite like it because it's almost a 3/4 thrust because the stage is sort of in the middle of the room and the audience is all the way around. And we have no backstage. We have no wings.
Right.
And we have because we're an equity theater, we have a limited. We just have a small theater, so we can't do large cast shows. When we do Sheer Madness, that's 6 actors, and that's the largest show we can do. We generally do 5 actors or fewer, so that limits you right away.
Right.
Because of our deal with the Holiday Inn. So we're the theater part and they're the dinner part, and our deal with the Holiday Inn, we have to do a show that has an intermission, mostly for the audience, so they can, because we have a lot of older folks come see us that have been patrons for years, and so they need a bathroom break. Everybody needs a bathroom break, and the hotel wants to sell drinks at intermission,
Right.
so we have to do a show with an intermission. So we have some constraints on what we can do. And
there are more and more shows being written now without intermissions.
that's the trend, which is great. I mean, I love a 90-minute show, no intermission. It's just something that we can't do unless the publisher lets us add one in. So we have to take that into consideration. So we're looking for funny, we're looking for entertaining, we're looking for small cast, and looking for something fun. So that's limited right away. So there's a wonderful playwright from Canada named Norm Foster, and that was my first show. The Love List was a Norm Foster play, and he writes shows to be produced. He writes small cast, one set comedies, which are perfect for us. So we've done like 5 of his shows, all great and all great hits and stuff like that. So in looking at a season, I try to put something together that fit together thematically and also that fit together technically, that we don't have much of a transition from one set to the next. You know what I mean? And so something that can tie it all together. 2 years ago was our season of Madness, Murder, and Mayhem, where we did Sheer Madness, which was a murder mystery at heart, and then we did a play called Marriage is Murder, which was really funny. Last year was our season of Love, which was Love You Perfect Now Change, and a play called Old Love. And so this year is our season of Friends and Family, so we're doing Guys on Ice as friends and Incident at Our Lady of Perpetual Help as family, and it's, we'll see how it goes.
And like an airport, you have them taxiing. You have titles 2 years out. You have titles, that you're keeping.
We have. I mean, we're ready. We pretty much know what we're doing next year, and I think we pretty much know what we're doing the year after that. I can't announce anything because we don't
Why?
we don't know yet.
Just announced this year.
Exactly.
But
And I'm going
you've
to take
done-
lesson from you and just keep it up my sleeve.
But you've known this year for a while.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting it out to the public, and you want an on sale date, and you want
All that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when the announcement happens, we're ready to hit the ground running. The early birds go. The early bird pamphlets go out. The website is live. Ovation is live for ticket sales online, and you can call the box office, and we're ready to go. So this is actually early. We usually don't. In the past we haven't announced till like mid-March. So we're happy to announce early this year and hoping to make it even earlier next year.
Oh, that's great. Great. You were in at SLOC. You were in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat
Yes.
and
Spring Awakening.
Spring Awakening. Both huge hits. Joseph sold out. I couldn't
Yeah.
get a ticket to Joseph.
Joseph was crazy. We were actually talking about adding an additional adding a 2-show day into Joseph.
Yeah.
But we had some cast members who couldn't make the earlier time for the 2-show day, so Joseph was crazy.
Yeah. And Spring Awakening, how did that do?
Spring Awakening, I would say, did really well. I think there was definitely not as well as like something that's as overarchingly family friendly as Joseph. Spring Awakening was a little bit of a harder sell because, obviously the material is so controversial to a lot of people. So that one was a little bit more difficult, but I would say that they both did really, really well.
Yeah. Do you think, did you get high school audiences for Spring Awakening?
I don't know if we did like large groups of high schoolers, but the high schoolers that I do know in the area or that have come to work with like that
want to
where I
play
work. Yeah.
Wendla.
Yeah. And I remember we did get a group of kids from the one that was happening at Coe's Music Hall. A group of them came to see it. But yeah, we did get a lot of high school students. I don't know if we had like large groups. We definitely did.
There was a season of Spring Awakening
everywhere.
Fort Salem.
Fort Salem did one.
Rhinebeck.
And then Cohoes,
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. Did you see Rhinebeck's?
No, I wanted to so badly, but I couldn't make it down there.
Have you been down there?
No, I want to,
They
though.
do really interesting stuff. I don't know how many groups are using this space, Center for Performing Arts in Rhinebeck, and but they turn over shows like closing, and then next week something else is going up, and they've done strange, offbeat things like Bear, Amelie, Bat Boy.
I love Bat Boy.
Yeah.
Such a fun campy show.
Yeah, I was so glad Regan Zlotnick and Sean Baldwin were in that. So it was nice to see Capital Region artists working out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting place and, well supported. They did this one night with Jim Dale. Who did it, who was amazing doing a one-man show, and he's got to be 80.
Yeah.
Just incredible. March is high school theater month. Are you planning, or you're too busy?
I've had so many commitments on the weekends because of the back-to-back
What are you
shows.
doing tonight?
Tonight? I don't even know. I have rehearsal tonight. I have cleanup day for the theater. See, that's
A Friday night rehearsal.
Yeah. I've been everywhere. And also, I'm trying to, the free time that I do have, I try to squeak out to, be able to talk to my partner because he's in Indiana doing You're in Town at Derby Dinner Playhouse. So so when our schedules line up too, I take that time to get to talk to my friends and family. So, but yeah.
Raphael DeMarco. Well.
Yes, Joshua. He's a big name out here too. He's been doing things all over for God knows how long, but you wouldn't know it because he looks so beautiful and youthful.
Shout out to Derby Dinner.
Yeah. Oh, Mark Christopher from this area too is also out there as well.
Who's done a ton of artwork for Harbinger.
Mark Christopher is our set designer this year.
Yeah, he does a ton of set design in the area too. He does a lot for Playhouse.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't remember how he came to us, but he's a wonderful performer and a really talented set designer. Yeah.
It's good to know. No, that's not true. I'm making that up. But Owen Smith was here, and he said that he always advises the Playhouse Stage Academy, get another, skill, a technical skill in the theater, and
Right.
Something that you can, use when you're not performing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And grow in that field as well.
Yeah.
I am a high school musical theater adjudicator for the first time for the HSMTA awards. So I've
can't
got a
believe-
few on my.
I just couldn't believe it was your first time because you're watching everything all the time. So when I found out it was your first time adjudicating, I was shocked because I would
Yeah.
think this is a role for you.
Yeah. I mean, we go to we go to high school shows anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Just whatever. We're not doing a show, and we thought we could. My partner Chris and I that we could commit to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were signed up for 3, although, we've seen more.
Yeah.
And we could see more. But yeah, and we picked 3 that, aren't usually done in high schools.
Like what? What are the shows?
Sunset Boulevard
Wow.
at
I was
Niskayuna.
gonna say, yeah.
Catch Me If You Can at Ballston Spa.
Okay.
And Bring It On at Albany High.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are pretty adventurous shows for
Yeah.
high school.
Yeah. So, excited. I saw someone was doing Anastasia. This is the thing about Capital Region, though. I have a list on 518 theater artists, and for March, there are 70 theater events listed, right? Because all the high schools are doing stuff, right? And I post it, and people are pelting me with, oh, you forgot this show.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm updating like all day long.
Yeah.
And then people are like, my middle school. I was like, oh, middle schools. All right. Yeah,
sure.
we want to do middle schools. But someone shouted out this Anastasia at some academy in Scotia. I was like, I have never heard of this school. I was like, okay.
Wow.
Another one.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I went to Chicago for the first time at Albany Academy, so I checked that off my list.
Nice.
Did you do your high school show?
When I was in high school? Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I started young. My first show, I was in 3rd grade.
Wow.
We did a production of The Revenge of the Foolish Molar, and I was the foolish molar.
Wow.
Yes, all the other teeth ate fruits and vegetables, and I liked cake and cookies, and I developed a big cavity.
Typecast.
And I was hooked from that moment on.
Yeah, playing the bad boy.
villain.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Oh
Well-
yeah, I've been doing theater literally my whole life. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I can remember grade school shows. I got cast as an elf in a Christmas pageant. I was very tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I couldn't sing. So they wanted me to get me out of the choir.
Yeah.
What did your high school do? And this is in Brooklyn or this is in Westchester?
No, this was. I went to. My parents moved to White Plains, New York,
White
so I went to
Plains.
White Plains High School, and we did Our Town for sure. And gosh, what else did we do in high school? We did Up the Down Staircase, Bye Bye Birdie. I'm not a big musical. I wish I could sing, but I can't. I love musical
Yeah, me
theater.
too.
You too?
Yeah.
I always wanted Nathan Lane's career, but I just can't sing.
Yeah.
But I just adore musical theater. So I was happy to be in the chorus for that.
Yeah.
Do
I got the
whatever.
only non-singing role in Carnival.
Oh, that was you?
Yeah. Dr. Wilhelm Glass. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a blast. What high school musicals or what high school shows did you do?
I started with the Early Modern Millie. I was Gloria, and then I did Anything Goes, and I was an angel. Then I want to say it was Drowsy Chaperone, and I was Janet Van de Graaff. And then I did, for my senior year, it was Once Upon a Mattress, and I was Winifred.
Yes. Working your way up.
Yeah.
Kick. That's great.
Yeah.
Did your school also do straight plays?
No, we didn't. We had an enormously small program. My first show there was 14 people total, and we did Millie. So it's like the
Yeah.
smallest production of Millie you had ever seen. So, oh my gosh, I even forgot one too. We did the Pajama Game too. That was one forgotten year. But yeah.
Is there a reason that you forgot that?
not to hate on a
blocked
show,
it.
but that show just, to me, it's like, where's the plot? Where's the
Yeah,
plot?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
all these loose ends everywhere, so that's why I probably forgot it.
Workers' rights.
I mean, they don't
Fighting
finish
for
anything.
5.5 cents.
Yeah, 7.5 cents.
7.5.
Is that song?
Yeah.
You remembered that? That's
Yeah,
good.
because it's a song at the end. It's 7.5
Yes.
cents. Yeah,
And I screwed it up.
it's okay.
Yeah. No, I was also noticing with all the musicals being done, the 30 high schools, there are 2 productions of Legally Blonde this weekend, within 15 minutes of each other, Saratoga and Shenandoah. But there's only one straight play being done this season. I don't know if schools do them in the fall as well. I know Albany High has a student-devised show that they're doing at the end of the year. But yeah, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child was done, I think, last weekend by Schuylerville. And yeah, I always thought that was like a missed opportunity because Jarel and I need to work too.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I loved. I haven't done as many plays as I would like to because I always get enamored by a musical. But I've done a few, and every time I do it, I'm like, oh, I need to do more plays. But again, too, at the educational level, I think in middle school and high school, you don't get as much of an opportunity because the budgets are typically, at least where I was from, budgets were smaller, and they wanted to throw all their money at one thing and do that one thing well rather than split it into 2. So that was unfortunate.
Yeah. And Slock. Doing Peter and the Starcatcher is a departure for them. Has anyone spoken about it? I can't remember the last time they didn't do a musical.
I think I remember seeing this. It was right before I moved out here. They did the complete works of Shakespeare abridged.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Which that's a really small
That's
play
true,
too.
in the summer. Yeah, Ellen Cribbs was in that.
Yeah. And then I think, I don't know if this is a play, so if I'm wrong, sorry, but Dog Sees God, I think, is
Yeah.
a play too. They did that for one of their summer fundraiser
Oh,
things
yes.
too.
Based on the Peanuts.
Yep.
Yeah, and so then, but
Loosely.
yeah.
Yes.
I think this is their first, at least from what I've seen over the years, their
Yep.
first main stage play.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a play with music. There are a lot of musical elements, and we're adding the pre-show, but overall, I mean, it is a play, obviously.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see where that goes and if they start to do more play development too there.
Excellent. Yeah. Where else are we going on this this journey?
This year, well,
Yes.
we were talking about high school. I'm directing a play at SUNY Adirondack right now.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm directing SUNY Adirondack. I've directed like 5 plays for them, but 2 years. I mean, after COVID, their theater department really took a hard hit. I directed 2 plays pre-COVID there, and I would have between 15 and 20 students in the class because it's a class the way they do it at SUNY Adirondack. It's called Rehearsal and Performance. And the first year there, I directed the Neil Simon production of Biloxi Blues. But then once COVID hit, I would have like maybe 6 or 8 students in class. It just wasn't getting the same attention. So 2 years ago, the administration at SUNY Adirondack cut the theater program, just eliminated it completely, sold all the books, sold everything off, and it was over. And then in November, I get an email from them saying the theater club is still going really strong, and we want to give the students a more professional, structured experience in theater. So are you available to come back and take the class over again? And I said, sure. So I'm back there this semester, and we're doing a production of Almost Maine.
Yay.
Yeah. It's obviously a great show. Yeah. The Dinner Theater did it. That was the first show I directed at the Dinner Theater in 2016. And so, we're in the middle of rehearsal now. The show will go up in April, runs the weekend of April 10th through the 13th. And the kids are really keen. It's going really well. Everybody's terrific. We just had our last rehearsal before spring break yesterday, and everybody was off book. I was so proud.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's going really well.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how big's your cast?
Let's see. We have 9 students. It can be done with as little as when we did it at the Dinner Theater. It's 4. It's written for 4, but there's 19 different roles in the play. So we have 9 students total, plus 2 student stage managers and a 2 student crew that's going to be front of house and do props and stuff like that.
Great.
So yeah.
And the one about the penguins,
Oh yeah, Birds of a Feather.
and you did that at the Wood, right?
Yes, yeah, that was SUNY Adirondack. That was the last show that I directed before they shut down the program.
And Almost Maine is going to be at the Wood?
No, Almost Maine's going to be at the theater on campus.
Excellent, because I've never been there.
Yeah.
So I wanna visit all the theaters.
Yeah, please come on by. I mean, it's really just an auditorium, less of a theater, more of an auditorium. But my first two shows were there in the auditorium, so it'll be great. It'll be great.
And you are working at the Wood next week, right?
For Playfest.
24 hours?
Yeah, 24-hour Playfest.
Talk about that.
Oh, so much fun. So much fun. Have you ever done 24-hour play?
No,
you know what
I
it
have
is?
not.
Have you ever done it?
I have never done it.
You really should do it one year, Patrick, both of you. It's amazing. So do you know the concept of it is you put on a show in 24 hours. I think this year they have 8 teams, so they get 8 playwrights, 8 directors. I think they have 35 actors this year, and everybody meets Friday night at 7 o'clock. You pick teams at random. Each playwright picks a director's name out of a hat, and you're paired up. And then the director picks 3 or 4 actors' names out of a hat, and you're paired up, and that's your team. And you go off and you talk for an hour, and they give you a theme that all the plays have to be about. They give you one line. Every play has to include one particular line. They give you a secret prop that you don't get until the morning of. And then the playwright has to go off and write a play that night, a 10-minute play, and has to be delivered by 5 a.m. Then the actors and directors come in at 7 a.m., get the script for the first time, rehearse all day long, and you do the show that night. And then it's over. It's literally a 24-hour commitment.
Gosh.
Yeah. And it's thrilling. It's absolutely thrilling. I did it like 5 or 6. When I used to live in New York City, I did several theater companies. I used to belong to a theater company called Oberon Theater Ensemble, and I did it 4 or 5 times with them. I used to belong with a company called Boomerang Ensemble. I did it a couple times with them, sometimes acting, sometimes directing. But it's just absolutely thrilling because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what the plays are going to be, and it's just like pure raw theater. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I saw it. I think I saw last year's, and it was a full house.
Yeah. Oh, they always sell out for that.
Yeah.
Because there's, so if it's 35 actors, 8 directors, 8 playwrights, that's a lot of friends and family that are going to come.
Yeah.
So it's really, really fun.
So as director, and you show up at 7 o'clock and you pick up the script with your actors, right? What's the process like?
So for me, it's just a truncated process of what you do as a director anyway, and I'm a big believer in table work, so I always start with table work. And so the first hour or 2 hours is we don't leave the table. We just talk about, we just read it a few times, talk about character, circumstances, who are we to each other, relationships, and then we get up on our feet and we block the play and move it along. And then in the afternoon, the Wood sets aside, I think it's like a half hour each for tech. So you can get on the stage and tech your show, and even though it's not ready yet, you don't quite know what it is yet sometimes. And then we have dinner break and lunch break, and the actors can go home and get costume pieces that might fit the show and come back, and then we're up. Then the show's up and running.
Awesome.
So it's thrilling being an actor in Playfest. It's the most nervous I've ever been since college. Because you just don't know what's going to happen. But it's even better being a director because once the show's up, you can go get a beer and just enjoy the show.
Yeah, you're done a little early.
Yeah, exactly. The director's, done early.
Nice.
Yeah. But seriously, you should really, everybody should do. Every theater person should try it once.
Yeah.
And they do it every year at the Wood. So.
Yeah, I saw someone announced one for coming up. Confetti Stage is doing their first 24-hour. I just saw the audition announcement.
I saw that too. I thought it was a 48-hour play festival that they're doing, which is
crazy.
2 days a week.
I know. What kind of luxury are they having?
Makes no sense.
Yeah. But so I think the playwright has a full day to write the play. So a little bit easier. But yes, I did see that on Capdist.
Excellent. Table work. Is it different with musicals? Do you do table work? This sounds like a crazy question.
I don't think it's crazy. Because sometimes we don't. I mean, especially, at home, most of the shows I did, we never did table work even when I was doing the plays. We just got right up and started doing the thing immediately, which to a degree I love because I love adding like the physicality to it. But I mean, I love a good table work. I love hearing what everybody else's thoughts. And honestly, I love hearing their thoughts on my character or my interpretation of something because I really do think it changes the way that I'm going to approach it. It wasn't until it was like a year before I was going to move out here that I started being in shows that were prioritizing table work. And then when I got out here, I would say I don't think I've really done too much table work. We've done obviously the standard read-through, and in read-through we'll talk about different things like conceptually or relationally. I will say I did Head Over Heels out here at Colonial Little Theater in Johnstown too. That was this past summer, and Justin Newkirk was the director, and he did some of the most fun table work, I would say. He had all these like really creative prompts that like, because the show is fun, it's silly. There's a couple like weighed down, heavy, hearty moments, but like it's the music of the Go-Go's and it's crazy. It's like a celebration of love. And so we're doing table work, and he's like, if you could add 3 people into your character soup, who would they be? Like, it was just so fun. It was just like silly things like that. But that really did get us thinking. I'm trying to remember. I think Miss Piggy was one of mine. so
nice.
Just fun stuff like that, you know? But I do love table work, and I wish there was more opportunity to like really sit down. But I feel like with so much going on in this area for theater, people get pressed for time, and people are often involved in a lot of things at once. So I think they really want to just get things moving as quick as possible. Not to say that's bad, but it's, it doesn't allow for as much exploration.
Yeah, that does. You were talking about David, who just came off of A Few Good Men at Cahoe's Music Hall. That didn't, that closed, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
4 weeks ago? Now he's going into tech. Yeah, I find that the availability, like to get the whole cast together, it might happen later, with everyone's commitments and things like that. So table work's kind of like, with
whoever you have. And it's hard. I mean, it's such a blessing, and I would say a curse too, to have so much going on, but also with so many theaters in such a small geographic region, everybody's competing for the same general show weekends and overlapping rehearsal processes too.
They talk about, we should have a calendar, and I do my own, monthly listing, but Jeffrey Hocking of the Schenectady Light Opera Company, he works their box office, he's audience relations, has a phenomenal calendar at capdistheater.org.
Such a great site.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah. And
Jeffrey does such a great job with that.
What an undertaking.
Wow. Yeah. He's amazing.
Just put it out, and it's got links to everything. You can go directly to the website and get tickets, and you can look up by genre, by date,
Yeah, it's such a great resource. And all the audition listings that they put out every single day.
Yeah.
It's just such a great resource. I mean, I tell everybody about it. I urge everybody to sign up for CapDis, because it's just such a great resource.
Yeah, it's it's the only way to get everything.
Yeah. And Jeffrey's just
it's phenomenal.
He's a force of nature, man. He was
is.
He's amazing. I directed for Carol at Curtain Call like 6 or 7 years ago, and I was lucky enough to have Jeffrey as my stage manager, which was the first time I met him. And he was just, we hit it off, wonderfully, and he was just great to work with. He was so wonderful, and I just kept in touch with him, and he was the one that told me about CapDis and all that stuff. But so it's just terrific.
Yeah. He directed me in, I did a show with Confetti, Mrs. Bob Cratchit's Wild Christmas Binge. So we had a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeffrey's awesome. He's been I actually did get the pleasure of being on stage with him too for Joseph. He was
yes.
Potiphar. He had that little cameo part too. It was a really fun time. Yeah.
Awesome. So we all have 1 degree of separation.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So we've come to that moment in the show where we talk about the play that changed my life. Doesn't have to be one play, but Jarel.
I'm glad you said that because I do have two.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
I knew that.
It was perfect. It was perfect. So before I made my debut in The Revenge of the Foolish Molar, my older brother was in a high school production of Our Town, and he played Joe Crowley, the paper boy in Our Town, and I was 5 years old, and I helped him learn all of his lines. You know, I always ran lines with him. So when my parents took me to see the production, and I'm watching him, I knew all of his lines, and I'm just like, that's where I have to be. You know, I mean, a light went off. It didn't go off until I saw my brother up there saying the lines that I knew.
Yeah.
And, you know, and a light went off, and I was like, well, those are my people. This is what I found, you know. And so I'd say Our Town is definitely one. And then I got to do it in college, I got to do a production in college. And then years later, I did a professional production of Our Town, and our stage manager was amazing. And it wasn't until that third production that I realized how brilliant a play it truly is. And it, you know, so I would say that one for sure.
Yeah.
And then the other one is a play called The Love List, which was my first play at the Dinner Theater. So that brought me up to the area and eventually changed my life because I moved up here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Would you do Our Town again?
Oh, absolutely. In a heartbit. I love that play.
What would you like to do?
I mean, I've always wanted to play the stage manager.
Excellent.
You know, I would play anything. I would play Doc Gibbs. I would play anything in that show because it's just so brilliant, you know. And then learning about the history of the play much later in life and how audacious it was when Thornton Wilder first wrote it. A Broadway play with no sets, like nobody had done that before.
Yeah, the Belasco was building ships,
right?
that came on stage,
right.
Yeah.
So a play that was, you know, had the structure that this had, and the way it changed theater at the time that he wrote it is just amazing.
Right. I didn't have much relation to Our Town before I did it, or if I did, it was sort of that I had seen it and I had appreciated it, but until I performed it, I was like, oh, this is you know, this has got everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's because it's just, I mean, it's funny and it's sweet, but it's also like, in totality, it's about everything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I get chills talking about it because the way he ends the play with the stage manager in talking about the cemetery and what life means, and Emily goes back and tries to live just one more day of her ordinary life and what it means to her and what it says about life and the preciousness of it. It's just so beautiful to me and so simple.
Awesome. Hannah.
The scary question, because again, like what you said, I have so many different ways I can answer it because I feel like every show you do changes your life for the better or the worse. Like they're all so influential. Like, so I have like 3.5, but I'll be quick.
We can have you back. No, go ahead. Well, we have plenty of time.
One of them was the first show I had ever seen on stage was my sister doing a production of Footloose. So my oldest and only sister, I'm one of 7 children. So my sister was a huge influence on me. So I saw her doing it and I'm like, oh, well, now my sister did it, so now I'm going to copy her. Like, I have to do what she's doing. But then I got the bug because I've been singing from a young age. So that was, I guess, the first thing that got me in the doorway. And then when I did Pippin here at the Collaborative School of the Arts, I mean, boy, it just like opened every door. I mean, I just sat there thinking, this is what I want to do with my life. Like, I never want to stop doing this. So that, I guess, was like super influential because it introduced me to the area. I met my best friend Caitlin. I just got like my world expanded like tenfold, and I saw really like what the power of theater could do, like in every facet, and having everything like firing at full force, and having full tech, and having, you know, all these people who were just as devoted to this as I am, which was just so moving. So that really had like a huge emotional impact on my life and where I wanted to see myself go with theater. And then I say 3.5 because I did the show twice. So both times I did it, though, it was just like a huge thing of my life. It was Spring Awakening. I first did it at my college in Utica University, and then I did it again with Schenectady Light Opera Company. And both times is Venla, but both times drastically different. The first time I did it, I was the PR person, I was the marketing person, I was the costumer, I was the choreographer, and I was Venla. So I was wearing all these different hats, but what I guess was so influential about it for me is I was a board member for this theater group as well. I just wanted this show to happen so badly. And I was like, there's nothing that I'm going to let slip through the cracks. I'm going full force to make this show get onto its feet if I have to do everything myself.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
yeah.
What kind of department? I mean, was it necessary for you, or you just grabbed all those things? And
It was definitely necessary.
Yeah.
We had a department show, and then we had a theater club.
Okay.
This was through the theater club.
Great.
We had like 2 sticks and a piece of string as a budget.
Yeah.
So we had to work with what we had. We couldn't obviously go out and pay anyone or any professionals to come in and help us. Like, everything was volunteer based. But again, the pool in my hometown is so small, and there's not a lot of producing theaters other than high school, and all the high schools are busy doing their own things, and are also underfunded and are also understaffed. So we were just starting to get into doing full stage shows again. The club had not done full stage shows in a long time before this, a few years. And this was also the first show back from the pandemic, the first musical that we were doing back from the pandemic. So we just had not a lot of people who were able to help out. And I mean, everybody was doing something other than every actor pretty much was wearing a second hat.
Yeah.
Doing something else too. And I mean, I didn't even start as the choreographer either. I joined the cast as Venla, and then we were a few weeks in and we were like, actually, we do need a choreographer. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to let this slip through the cracks, so I'm going to do it. And I licensed choreography from Liv Larson from this area, because she had done this beautiful, gorgeous production of it that I had seen before that she choreographed. And so I messaged her and I was like, I will pay you such and such amount if I can license to use your choreography, because she had a video and everything of her choreo. And so then I took it and then I adapted it, obviously, to the needs of my cast and what level we were at and certain things that wouldn't work for us. But
good for you.
I was going to make that get on its feet.
Good for you.
Yeah. But then I would say doing it the second time was just like, I had loved this show for so long. I love Venla. There are a lot of reasons why I connect to the story. Obviously, I won't go through all of them because this is not therapy, as I've said about it before. It's just such a moving show. I mean, generational trauma, religious trauma. We have identity. We have sexuality. So many important themes for a young person, too. And so the second time I got it was just like, it was so serendipitous. I was moving out to the area, and at the same exact time are auditions for my favorite show in the whole world. I go out and I'm like, I will literally take anything. There's like 80 people there. So for me to even get in, let alone get Venla was just crazy to me. I met my core group of friends that I have in the area. I met my partner, who we were friends at the time. He was Moritz in the same production. This time, though, I actually just got to focus on me and being an actor and really like serving the part to my fullest extent. And just the journey and the self-discovery you make while playing parts that mean so much to you is just so fulfilling. And it reminds me all the time why I'm so obsessed with doing it over and over again, and why I'll run myself ragged any time for it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And, kudos to you for getting in touch with Liv Larson and licensing the choreo. I don't think many young people would reach out to someone or even acknowledge that is something necessary to do. And I saw a post that you had on a week or so ago that made me stop and think. And you were talking about using AI in promotional materials. And I thought that was a really interesting conversation that you sparked with that. And, about why are we as artistic organizations using this tool that kind of subverts or eliminates
an arts position.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's so. People brought up a lot of good points, some that I hadn't even considered in that. So, again, with a lot of things, I'm okay to admit that I don't know exactly where I stand anymore. I would rather sit in the uncertainty than be like, I am 100% against this, and then be like, oh, wait. Well, I think it's controversial because, I mean, you're literally replacing an arts, and then there's the environmental impact of AI-generated things. There's the aspect of that AI has like literally been pulling from different artists' artwork and like kind of like copyright issues that you could get into. And that, I mean, there's just so many different things about it. But then I also can understand from a budgetary perspective where if you have no one and you have no volunteers and you've tried to get somebody to do it, wanting to produce marketing that will get an audience in the door because, I mean, you can't just put like some, I mean, you could put some like word art up online and be like, come to my show, and it's not as convincing. So it's a really complicated issue. And being somebody, I have done graphic design, playbill design, show photos, headshots for multiple theaters in my hometown for years. And so I, as like a graphic designer and arts person who loves that niche, it gives me like the skeeves, it gives me the ick, but at the same time, though, it is all for serving, getting more people into the arts. So it's really up and down.
I appreciate the question. And I think it's awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
It's been a fantastic conversation.
Yeah.
I love having a podcast where I can just like invite people in and say, hey, spend an hour with me.
I must say, it's quite a thing you've created here. Yeah. I'm kind of envious. It is really cool. Well, just, inviting, I mean, just having the conversation with interesting people about a thing that we all love is priceless. It's wonderful. So I'm grateful that you had me here. Thank you so much.
Ruse I've created to serve my own needs.
Little Monty Burns.
Yes. Thank you for coming. This has been great. I really appreciate it. Hannah, who's opening in Peter and the Starcatcher next weekend. What are the dates again?
It's March 14th through 23rd, and the tickets are going to be available on Slock's website. They did just switch to a new ticket processor recently for this season, so I don't know the exact link, but if you go on Slock's website, you'll find it.
There you go.
March 14th through 23rd.
Excellent. And Jarel Davidow, Artistic Director of Lake George Dinner Theater. Tickets are available now.
LakeGeorgeDinnerTheater.org. Our season opens July 11th, Guys on Ice. And second show is Incident at Our Lady of Perpetual Help. That opens September 12th, runs till October 11th. We're going to have a lot of fun.
And directing the 24-hour plays at the Charles R. Wood Theater.
Yeah, absolutely. And Almost Maine at SUNY Adirondack.
There you go.
Good to be busy.
Yeah. Capital Region Festival of Theater coming June 12th through June 15th. We are throwing a Shakespeare's birthday party. Big Willie is 561 years old, and
doesn't look a day over 540.
Yeah, he's more popular than ever. Much Ado About Nothing with Tom Hiddleston is running in the West End. It's a huge hit.
Yes.
We do not have Tom Hiddleston, but we're putting together a show at Albany Barn on his birthday, Wednesday, April 23rd, and it's going to have scenes, songs, monologues. I think there's some Shayna Taub, 12th Night, going to be in there. Janine Trimboli's going to be in there. So join us and help raise funds for the initial Capital Region Festival of Theater. Thank you all, and I'll see you in the theater soon.